Okay. Capitulum sextum, via Latina par secunda. Chapter 6, part 2. So I'll mute everybody. We'll do our oratio initialis. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. So, let's see here. These are pretty much the same slides as I had last time, because we didn't get through all of them, which is good because I didn't think we would. So really, I guess the only review here, well, I threw in the Roman roads for those, just so you won't get lost. And we did introduce the prepositions, prepositiones cum ablativo et accusativo, prepositions with the ablative and accusative. Prior to this chapter, we only saw the ablative in oppido, sine dubio, without a doubt, cum sancto spiritu, etc. So now we're going to add a bunch of other ones with the accusative, ad, ante, apud, which is onto, beside. You can also throw with in there. Verbum errata apud deum.
Would apud also be like nearby?
Yes, it generally indicates proximity. And in English, we use a couple of different words with proximity. Okay. And as I mentioned before, you got to be a little bit careful because the Romans used prepositions. I don't want to say differently, but they had some flavors of the same word that were different than English. So you always got to be a little bit careful of mapping a Latin word to an English word or vice versa too rigidly, okay? It's not always an equal sign. In some cases it is, rex, king, okay? That's pretty straightforward. But we're going to see some other words, especially verbs, ago, agere, which has a wide meaning, and a couple of other ones. And next, is it this chapter? Is it this section, next section that has the apples or not? I don't remember. Or is it the next chapter? I always read ahead. I don't remember which one, but anyway.
Chapter 7.
Yeah, okay. So there's Alex.
Hey, Michael.
Yes.
You need to share with the newer people your was it Life of Brian clip. That was hilarious.
Oh yes. Thank you. I will send that out. Let me make a note of that. Hold on just a second. Ooh, life. Can you still see my screen when I do that, or does it go away?
Yeah, we can still see it. Well, I mean, we can still see the slides still.
Yeah, okay.
We don't see anything else.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I put that in my notepad so I could remember to do that. Anyway, so the general distinction between the two is the ablative indicates presence and or motion from or away. So op est, away, Accusative indicates at or presence, but in the sense of a final destination and motion towards. In the creed, you have qui sedes ad dexteram patris, he who sits at the right hand of the Father. Okay, so ad dexteram patris means, the previous part was he ascended into heaven and it is seated at the right hand of the Father. So the notion there is his final destination after his ascension was at the right hand of the Father. So we'll talk more about that. Well, we'll pick up these as we go through the reading. And let's see. Oh, yeah, as I said, ablative indicates presence and or motion. In oppido, in the city, that would be presence. Oppido, away from the city. And again, this can be if there is a consonant there, or op if there is a vowel there. I believe the book mentions that. An accusative indicates motion towards. In oppidum would be into the city. So if you were going into the city, you might say in oppidum. And when I say into the city, that means you're there and you're going inside. Whereas ad oppidum is to the city or towards the city. So,
Michael?
Yeah.
A quick question. Just now you mentioned abest. In the reading, there's a place where it says procul abest. So does that mean far away?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you, so if the word, sorry, odd oppidum, if that word oppidum were a different word that started with the consonant, would you be able to shorten that to as well, or is it just for ob?
No, it's just this guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
you.
op and ops.
Got it.
I will try and add that. Okay. When we get to the Grammatica Latina, I'll summarize all the grammar we've had to date, and I will make sure I add that in there. And if I forget, please chastise me. Although I think the book mentions it, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I did this last week, so I forgot.
Yeah, either way. So, but no, if you made that oppidum, then it would, it'd be the same as the up there,
Yeah, that would just be incorrect, right?
Well, it would be confusing. And
Okay. So is there a circumstance where you could say ab oppidum?
Nope.
Because so it wouldn't be correct. It wouldn't be correct.
Yeah, you're mixing. Op takes the always takes the ablative. So a oppidum is just wrong.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's, let's see, did we cover, let me check something here. Let me see where we are in the reading. I need to briefly refresh my memory. Here it is. And let me zoom that. I think we went through that. Yeah, okay, I want to go back to that chart. That's where we kind of left off. Okay, so motion to or from a town is usually expressed in the accusative or ablative without the use of the usual preposition. So you wouldn't say Julius ab Tuscolo venit. You would just say Julius Tuscolo venit. Likewise, you wouldn't say, and that would be Julius is coming from Tusculum. Yes, cities only. This is only cities, okay? Town. Maybe I should make that bold, underline. There we go. Yeah, only cities. Actually, maybe it would be better here. Julius Tusculum it. Julius is going to Tusculum. It would be, you wouldn't say comes to, well, I don't know, maybe you could say comes to, whoops, what happened? There we go. I suppose you could say Julius is coming to Tusculum. So yeah, that works. I take that back.
Michael, is it improper then to use either of those prepositions, ab or ad? in a sentence instead of taking, I know taking it
I
out.
would say it would be looked
For
down
English?
upon.
Okay,
One of the things I have to be a little careful of is, there's like, well, over 2,000 years of worth of Latin texts. Some of them written by written by many, many different authors, some who were much better at Latin than others. So it's possible you might see that.
okay.
But I don't recall ever seeing it by a well-learned author.
It's hard for my brain to make the switch of having it in there versus not having it in there. By not having it in there, I have to.
Well,
really-
the difficulty is if you need to realize, well, since you'll see it more often than not without it, your brain needs to realize that there was a silent one in there, if you know what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Well, Tuscalo, I get it because I know it's the object of a preposition, so that I can say, okay, ab. But then Tusculum, I kind of go,
well, okay, Tuscalo is from Julius.
yeah, right. It's,
Oh, all right, yeah.
It's a
Well, same
preposition.
thing. Julius is coming to Tusculum.
Oh, see, I thought that took on the genitive case and that, or the neuter, the denominative neuter, and I get confused, that ending.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the accusative as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, now we call this the ablative or ablativus separationis, ablative of separation. And the reason it's called that is because one of the basic functions of the ablative, I said ablative, didn't I? Darn it. Ablative, you put ablative heat shields on space capsules.
Yeah, and that means to abrade. And
Yeah, I
was
know,
gonna
I
say,
know. Yeah. So, but anyway, one of the basic functions of the ablative is to indicate the place from. Okay. And so we call this whole thing the ablative of separation. And I'm afraid the poor accusative here doesn't get no respect. So,
I mean, is it fair to say the accusative of separation?
I think the reason they call this the ablative of separation is because the ablative. See, I should just say it in Latin. I know that's ablativus. Anyway, the ablativus separationis is called that because the ablativus is used in all sorts of things that indicate separation. We're going to see other constructions.
Yeah, I'm just saying that with regard to the,
I've never seen it that way, but I can't say as it would be necessarily wrong. Okay.
it just seems like a misnomer when you're saying odd to.
I would agree, but I've never seen the accusative of separation. I might look it up here later if I get a chance.
The point is that the rule regarding the ablative also applies to the accusative
To
when
the
you're referring to a town.
Yeah.
When you what?
When you're referring to a town.
Oh, town, okay.
Yeah, that's only when you're referring to a town.
Yeah, this is only for towns. Okay.
And is there a connection then, given the fact that we have this specific rule with regard to the locative? It just seems kind of a coincidence that you have this ablative of separation when you're referring to a town. And then here you have this rule in the locative where you're referring to a town when someone is located in a town, as opposed to something that's not a town when the locative is not used.
I don't know the answer to that.
No, I just think
It's not immediately, I mean, it's curious. I agree. It's curious.
that there are certain
Both
rules.
have those
with regard
two,
to
but
towns.
if
Yeah.
there's how they ever became related or not, I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, don't know. And with that, I think I will jump over. Let's see. I think the next slide is the locative. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone for the moment because I don't believe we ran into the locative.
It's in the reading.
I mean, yeah, but not in, is it in section 1?
No,
No, it's in the next section.
Yeah,
that
it's
we-
in, I thought, yeah, it should be in section 2, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken. Try and figure out where the heck it is. Let's see. Malus Altum Tuscolo.
It's in,
Yeah, there it is. Tuscoli. Yeah, there it is.
yeah,
Okay.
it's in several places. But
Yeah. All right.
when, I have a question when we get to that.
Okay. Well, let's start in on the reading, and as we come up on some of these grammatical constructs, then we'll jump back over to the slides. So, anybody want to go first?
Not everybody all at once.
Yeah,
I'm never going to be able to read this on a phone.
yeah.
The lettering is too small.
Alex, how about you start us off?
Okay. Medus abest a domino suo, esne in opero tusculo, medus tusculi non est, neque Rome es medus, sed in via Latina inter Romam et Tusculum, unde venit medus, Tusculo venit, neque is ad vilam Iuli it, quo it medus Roman it, Tusculum post eum est, ante eum est Roma, medus via Latina Tusculo Roman ambulat. You want me to translate?
And meaning?
Okay. Medus is away from his master. Is he in the town of Tusculum?
Hmm.
Medus is not in Tusculum, but let me see again. Medus is not in Tusculum, but Medus is in Rome. So you have the locative right there.
Well, hold on.
What?
Equa Rome est medus. Neque.
But is in Rome.
Ne. Negative.
However,
That's got to be a negative.
That's a
oh,
negative.
negative, you're.
But it- okay. Is
Yeah,
not
I would use neither in this case, perhaps.
okay. Not
But really it is
but neither
it's really
is-
a
Like-
but not or and not.
Or nor, nor
Yeah,
is he
or
in
a
Rome?
nor. Yeah, or a nor.
It's not in Rome, but I stand by my statement that that's locative.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yes.
That's what I was trying to point out. Okay. You're right, but neither in Rome, but on the Via Latina between Rome and Tusculum.
Right.
From where comes Medus? He comes from Tusculum, but not goes, but he does not go to the home of Iulius. Where does Medus go? He goes to Rome. Let's see.
Jesus.
Oh, Tusculum is
You'll get there, Michael.
Tusculum is behind him, and in front of him or before him is Rome. Medus walks via the Latina, Via Latina. Wait, he walks on the Via Latina. Let's see,
From Tusculum to
from
Rome.
Tusculum to Rome.
Very good. Yeah, this one's kind of a little bit
Michael, I gotta be honest, half the stuff he was going, it's like, wow. It's like
okay.
perfect
Well,
case.
that's because we hit everything I talked about and the locative.
Uh-huh,
Let's go to the locative first. Let's break it down.
okay.
And,
Please.
and yeah, that's why I picked on Alex first. I
The
figured
key
he'd
is,
keep it
I
straight.
could have read it, but I wouldn't understand. I couldn't translate it.
the key
Uh,
is the genitive, right?
Yes, yes. Let's talk about, okay, we had here, yeah, okay, we had the ablative of separation.
Mhm.
So if we go back to, so if they're going to something, it's the, sorry, if they're going from something, it's the ablative, and if they're going to something, it is the accusative. So let me jump back to here. So, oh, well, let me do the locative next because it's all mixed in. Now, we have to and from, and now we also have in, okay? So what we've done in the past to indicate where someone or something is, we usually use the in plus the ablative. Roma in Italia est, okay? Emilia in horto est. Okay, nothing there. However, when referring to towns, and let me bold and underline that again, just like we had the ablative of separation where we dropped the preposition, we dropped the preposition in something called the locative. And or locativus. And really, it's just the genitive form of the town's name is used instead. So you can kind of read this. Do you have to use? No, if you are referring to the town, you have to use the locative and or ablative of separation. And you're going to find that there's a few other special nouns that get the locative, special treatment, but we'll worry about those later. So no, if you want to say Julius in Tusculo est, you really need to see Julius Tusculi est, because that is a town. You can use it, Julius in Italia est, Julius in Europa est, Julius in Oppido est, Julius in Horto est. You can use it every other place. But if it's a town, that in goes away, and then you have the Tusculi, the genitive form. Likewise, Vaticanus in Roma est, no in Roma. Vaticanus Rome est. You can think of this, and maybe, Michael, this will help you mentally. You can also translate Julius is of Tusculum, meaning he's there. Yeah, I will in a minute, Laura. And then you can also say the Vatican is of Rome. Okay, like Thomas, St. Thomas Aquinas, or St. Thomas of Aquinas. You can think of these if you want, if it helps, to literally see these as genitives, but understand it as a place name. I don't know, maybe that confuses you even more.
No, that kind of, I'm trying to look at the logic there, but thank you.
But yeah, so let's see. I think the next one is, yeah, that's what I thought. Now, ablative of separation. Again, if we drop the op to say from Tuscolo, and we drop the odd if we're headed towards there. So really, maybe the way to think of the ablativus separationis and the locativus is not so much that you fiddle with the endings as you drop, well, I take that back. This works. You can just drop the preposition and it makes sense. This one, you actually have to change the ending, so. Yeah, I guess it's not perfect. Does that answer your question, Laura?
About the app, about the app. Yes, thank you. Clarifying the one about, yeah, you have to use the locative. Oh, this is the ablative separation.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it,
Yeah,
thank you.
You have to use both of them.
Michael,
Yep.
Okay,
Michael?
Yeah.
One way I think about it is that when you see a town, and then you keep an eye out for the from, the ob, or the odd, or the in. And you know that if it's the in, then we're talking locative. If it's the ob or the odd, then we're talking about ablative or accusative separation.
As long as those words are in the sentence, but when they're not,
Well, no, it's all context, right? You know, you have to look at the context, but yeah. I mean, if you're looking at a town and you're thinking that, okay, are we talking about going to something or going from something, or are we talking about being in something? And you're talking about a town, then an alarm should go off in your mind. Oh, I'm either looking at the ablative of separation or the accusative of separation or the locative, depending on what's happening.
okay.
And Michael, this is where I have a question about the locative when it's appropriate to ask a question about the locative.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, throughout most of the this reading, the locative comes up with the verb est, but there's a place on line 77.
Okay, let me bring up, hold on, let me bring up 77. Ooh, I'm not good at mind reading, so I always like to have it up.
Okay, so
Oh.
the question is,
This one?
yeah, why does Matus go to Rome? He goes there because, and it looks like habitat is the verb that's introducing the locative here.
Yep,
Because Lydia habitat Rome. So is that Rome there in the locative?
yes, it is. Lydia lives in Rome.
Okay, so what that tells us is that it's not just est as a verb to introduce the locative. You could have other verbs as long as you're talking about in a town.
Correct,
Okay, that was all I was asking.
correct.
It's not just limited to est. And most of the examples we've been seeing use that verb.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, habitat, lives in Rome, died in Rome, born in Rome,
Right.
whatever, well, I was going to say whatever you can do in Rome, but I guess that doesn't narrow the scope much. At least not for the first century anyway.
In other words, the subject can have a passive action, or the verb would be passive, and you can have it, and the direct object would be, I'm trying to put this in words. I can't think, Michael. God, my mind's going crazy.
Join the crowd, Michael.
What Alex just said, I'm just kind of reading. So in other words, you can have a person or thing exist, and when you name it to something, as in and it has to be a town,
Has to be a town.
then all this kicks in.
Yes.
Oh, God. What?
Michael, I just want to
Michael
give you
is
the
never
biggest
going
hug
to
right now.
visit. Yeah, Michael is not going to visit any towns ever again.
And I have to say there's something similar to this in German. I was reviewing my German before I went to Austria. And the Austrians have a similar thing where if you are only, they use it for either a town, a city, or a country. And they just leave out all the words and you put a different ending on it. And basically you say, I am coming from Texas, or I am coming from the United States, or it's essentially like I come from.
Yeah.
And only the implication is you actually are traveling, but it also means where you reside. And it can be either, and in both cases, all you do is add a special ending in it, and there are no other words. And I had to adjust to this. Fortunately, I had a book on Austrian. The standard German doesn't do this, but Austrian does.
Yeah, the
So now-
grammatical constructs that you see
Uh-huh.
are not unique to Latin, but rather have their origins in something called Proto-Indo-European, which is the ancestor of many of the European, not all of them, but many of the European languages. So anyway, but so yes, you can use it with any verb that, you know, you can do when you're doing something in Rome. So I don't think, let's see. No, you can even use it with a passive voice verb. I take
You
that
can?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like he was killed by let's see, Brutus. Yeah, Caesar was killed by Brutus in Rome. So was killed is a passive voice verb because it was Caesar that was killed, and then in Rome. So yeah, it can be any. It can be, you know, any verb where you can have a location associated with it. Active, passive, future,
Regardless of tense.
past tense. Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So, all right. Oh, where was the, oh, no, we're getting ahead here. That's why.
We
Okay.
just finished
So,
one paragraph.
yeah. So let me just kind of re-summarize some of this here. So, medus apesta domino suo. So there's nothing that's regular grammar or grammar we've seen in the past. Let's put it that way. Esne in opido tusculo. That's also what we've seen in the past.
Okay, Michael,
Medus tusculi non est. Now there, that is the locative. Medus is not in tusculum. And what's the genitive form of tusculum? Tusculi. Neque Rome est medus. Well, actually, you might say, and medus is not in Rome. That's also the locative. Set in via Latina. In via Latina. So this is, he is on, we would say on the Roman road. Well, you know, usually we'd say it that way. Inter Romam et Tusculum, between Rome and Tusculum.
Michael, I have a question.
Sure.
When it says medus tusculi non est, but before that it says esne in opido tusculo.
Tusculo.
Why? What? I guess what I'm not sure about is why didn't he use the locative there,
Okay.
like
It's
esne tusculi?
It's
The
because
reason
of the
here,
opido.
tusculum is like an adjective
Opido.
to opido.
Yep.
If he did not have the in opido, then you're right. It would be esne tusculi.
They were trying to trick you.
Yeah, they're
Haha.
sneaky. Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel for you because this is one of the harder parts of Latin. The ablative and the accusative, when they're with a preposition, isn't so bad. I think most people can kind of grab on to that concept. But when we throw the prepositions away, then we don't have those cues, visual cues or auditory cues. And so then we're kind of left hanging there. But yes, this would be we would translate it as the town of Tusculum, perhaps.
But it's really the Tusculum town.
It's the Tusculum town. Yeah.
Huh.
I don't think there is. Is there any English equivalent? Boy, I can't think of a single English equivalent. But yes, well, all right. No, actually, I take that back. English has what, and I've forgotten the term for it, nouns that are used as adjectives. And for example, when we say car radio, well, car is a noun normally, and radio is a noun normally. But we're distinguishing the radio by virtue of it being associated with the car. So this is the same construction, I think. At least that's the way I think of it. So you're saying in the town, and then this adjective, this noun is defining the town, just like car radio does. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that
let's
makes
see.
sense. Thank you.
Where did we end up? Okay.
Yes, it does.
Unde venit medus? From whence does medus come?
Oh,
Or
that's great. From whence?
yeah, I like unde as from whence.
Yeah, that's great.
Because
the book doesn't.
Nice.
yeah, that's the mental association I have, because it's not like okay, so if we want to say where is Medus, and I think we have ubi, don't we? I think we have it in this chapter, don't we? Or did we have it beforehand? Oh well. If you wanted to ask where is Medus, you would say ubi est Medus. Where is Medus? But if you want to know where he's coming from, so it would be unde venit Medus. Tusculo venit. He comes from Tuscany, or Tusculum, sorry. Ablative of separation. Neque is ad vilam Iuli it. And he does not go, or is not going, to the villa of Iulius. Quo it medus? Where is he going? See, oh yeah, quo, to where? That's another that's also another motion word. Quo it, in fact, quo and unde, I think they should have.
They're vocabulary words, this chapter.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought they had a little sidebar. It might be.
It might have been in the top, in the beginning part of the
it's
chapter.
probably
Now
in
it's
there.
cut
So
off.
quo and unde are to the opposite. Quo is to where, and you can unde is from whence. Romam it. So here we have the accusative of separation, if you will. Only it's not really separating, it's going towards. So Tusculum post eum est. Tusculum is behind him. Ante eum est Roma. Behind him is Rome. And that doesn't require any, that's just the nominative form, because you're just stating he is, or, Rome is before him. Although the ante takes the accusative here, so eum. Medus via Latina Tusculo Romam ambulat. Oh, my. Here we have, let's see here. Medus walks from Tusculum
To Rome.
to Rome on the Via Latina.
Where are all the prepositions?
Taking a nap.
Actually, I'm wondering why there isn't an in there now that I think about it. Hold on a second. Don't need one there. Oh, I know why. Oh, hold on. They don't introduce okay, let me check my slides for a second. Is this where oh, we do the ablative of means, don't we? Oh, I think that's on the end. Yeah, okay. That's what they did. All right. Man, they really packed it in on this one, didn't they? Oops. Okay. Let me go back here. Okay. Come on, there. All right. Wow. They
By the way,
really
Michael-
packed it in. All right. This
Michael?
is called, pardon?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, this is called the ablative of means, or the ablative of instrument. Depends on, well, it's known by either name, basically. Some people like ablative of means, other like ablative of instrument. I like means because that was the word I learned first. So what does that mean? Okay. All right, so we have yet another, whoops, let's see, the ablative of mean, too far. Okay, the ablative, ablativus instrumenti, and that's what the book uses. They say yes, who done it? Yes. The ablative, well, actually it wasn't who done it, it's who done it with what. The ablativus instrumenti, or the ablative of means, is for both active and passive voice verbs. We haven't had those yet. The means, or how the verb was carried out, is expressed in the ablative. So, Dominus servum baculo verberat. The master beat the servant with the stick, the rod. Okay. So you don't need you can often translate it as with or by, depending upon whether it's an active or passive case. It's unfortunate that we've had this out of order, but that's the way it was. So I think this is right now, this is probably the best example. Dominus servum baculo verberat. So if we go back to here, medus, by means of the Via Latina, walked or walks from Tusculum to Rome. So when you see and we do know this is ablative, it's a standalone ablative. You see the long A's under both the words. Whenever I see this, I like to say by means of, okay?
Michael, could you say by way of?
You could certainly, yeah. And if you were going to translate it for your, and impress friends, then you would say by way of, okay. Yeah. It would be a little more colloquial.
A minute ago, Michael, you were asking about the quo in unde, and on page 45, that's where it's located on the sidebar.
Okay. 40. Oh, is it in the Grammatica Latina?
Yeah, towards the bottom.
Oh, I know it was there someplace.
It's got
Okay.
the quo in unde.
Yeah. Okay. I remember seeing it. So they've packed this sentence pretty good. So we have the ablative of means or instrument, and then we have the ablative of separation and the accusative of separation. Well, actually, it's not really separate. I guess the reason they don't refer to this as the accusative separation is it's not really, it's more like the accusative of togetherness.
Michael?
Yeah.
Just to follow up on your comment about the ablative of means, notice that in the very last sentence of that paragraph, it uses Via Latina in the ablative of means, but in the next sentence, they use in via Latina. So
Yep.
they're not referring to it as ablative of means there.
That's right.
It's an
They're using it
interesting
as a
the
position.
contract.
Yeah. Yeah, just to sneak forward. Etiam Cornelius, amicus Julii, in via Latina est inter Romam et Tusculum. Well, what's the difference? Well, as Alex pointed out, you can translate etiam as, and also there's a couple of different ways. Cornelius, friend of Julius, in the Via Latina, or on, we would probably say on the Via Latina in English, is on the Via Latina between Rome and Tusculum. So in this case, they're talking about how Matus went from Tusculum to Rome using the road, the Via Latina. Whereas in this case, Cornelius is right there on the Via Latina this very moment as we speak. Well, so is Matus, but they're saying that Matus is getting from Tusculum to Rome by means of the Via Latina. Make sense? Might be
Yes.
mind-boggling, but hopefully it makes sense.
It's a clever juxtaposition.
Yes. Oh, they do this several places. You have to, in fact, I've been caught napping in a few places as I read along and kind of went, what? Oh. So. All right, let's move on then. All right, where does this end? I guess this ends here. Do we have another volunteer?
I'll take it, but I warned you, I'm in a brain fart mood tonight, so,
Okay.
all right.
Well,
You already-
are we allowed to laugh at you and relieve the
Yes,
tension?
you may laugh.
All
Brain
right,
farts
just
are
checking.
amusing. Okay,
Teresa deserves a courageous ward.
That's true.
Not
That's
true
true.
that she's in pain, but she's here.
That's true.
okay. You already did the first sentence, so I'll start with unde venit Cornelius is non Tusculo sed Romane venit. So he's from where is Cornelius coming from? He's not coming from Tusculum, but he's coming from Rome.
Right.
Quo it, where is he going? Cornelius non Romam sed Tusculum it. So Cornelius is not going to Rome, but he's going to Tusculum.
Right.
Roma post eum, ante eum Tusculum est. So Rome is behind him, Tusculum's ahead of him. Cornelius and equo est. So Cornelius is riding on a horse. Equus qui Cornelium vehit, is it vehit or vehit?
Vehit, shorty.
Vehit, pulcher est. So he's riding on a very handsome horse.
Yes.
Julius et Cornelius ad villas suas eunt. So both Julius and Cornelius are heading to their villas.
Yeah.
Villa-
Let me interject one to their
Yes.
respective villas.
Their respective, that's right, to their
Just
own,
to
each
us,
to their
yeah.
own villa go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Just a shade meaning there. Okay, go ahead.
Villa ubi Julius habitat prope Tusculum est. So the villa, Julius's villa, where he lives, is near Tusculum.
Right.
Ubi habitat Cornelius is Tusculi habitat. So Julius lives near Tusculum, but Cornelius lives in Tusculum.
Right. And again, notice the habitat and the locative.
Locative.
Yep. Anyway, you will be happy to know that you don't run in the locative very often in the New Testament. Does that make you feel better, Michael?
No, but go ahead.
All right. And I think we have, oh, this is a long one. Any volunteers for the long one? Laura?
Darn it, I've been voluntold. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
Is-
most people assume that volunteer is like a passive voice verb. It's not. It's
Oh,
an
man.
active voice verb.
Okay, could you scroll down a little bit more so we
Oh.
need the whole paragraph?
Sure.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thank you.
I'll
okay.
highlight as you go along. I think
Okay.
it'll be easier.
Alrighty. Iam Julius prope vilam suam est, servi qui lecticam portant feci sunt. Dominus autem fessus non est, nam is non ambulat. Julius ab urso et davo portatur, itaque is fessus non est. Feci sunt Cyrus et Leander, nam duos manios sacos umeris portant, neque vacui sunt
Oh, boy.
Sachi,
Sakchi, yeah.
Sakchi.
Sakchi. All right, let's stop right there because this is a long one and we hit a couple of new things here.
Okay,
Start with that one.
okay. Now, Julius is at his, no. Now Julius is near his
Near.
own villa.
Right.
The servants who are carrying him are getting crabby and tired.
Well, I don't know about the crap. Well, maybe they are,
They
but
probably
fessus
are.
does mean tired.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, like in my head when I was reading this, Fessy automatically translated as crabby when and then I looked at the glossary and it was tired.
As fussy, right?
Yes, uh-huh. Okay. Let's see. However, the master is not tired because nom.
For or because.
Because he is not walking.
Yeah.
That checks out. Okay.
Yeah, nom is a kind of an all-purpose conjunction, and you can sometimes use it for, and you can sometimes use because. And I believe, well, we'll cover some of these words later. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
nom I always blank on. Okay. Julius is carried by Ursus and Davus. Therefore, he is not tired.
Right.
Um,
Portatur. This is where we get the first passive voice verb. So let's stop there for a moment. Oh, let's see. Passive voice was here. Teresa says it's hard keeping is and it non-English. Yeah, I want to say is. I want to make it long, which probably makes Laura happy, but it is a short I, is, and actually it is it. So that kind of works out. But it means go, he goes, he, she, it goes, not you're it. Anyway, active and passive voice. Oh, wait, I thought, sorry, okay, here it is. Active and passive voice verbs. Now, we've only had what the intransitive verb to be, that's est or sunt, and active voice verbs so far. So, Britannia Peninsula est, that's intransitive, or Julius pecuniam habet, Julius has money, in Sacolo suo, for example. What we now have are the passive voice verbs. So an active voice verb just means the subject is the doer of the action. You know, I am eating lunch. I'm the one, I have money. Those are the, you know, I'm the subject here is the one that's doing it. Passive voice means the verb is being done to the subject. So, vox activa, Emilia vocat servos. Emilia calls the servants. Emilia vocatur a Julia. Vox passiva. Emilia is being called by Julia. Now, you've got it really easy at this point because all you've ever had are third person verbs. So right now, to take an active voice verb and makes it passive, all you got to add is the UR on the ending. Now, As I said, that only works for third person. But hey, take the easy ones when you can get them. Later on, we'll go through entire conjugations, and it's a little more complicated than that. But for now, if you see vocat, okay, means he, she, it calls. Vocant, they call, active voice. Vocatur, he, she, it calls. Vocantur, they are being called. Okay, so now the only thing that is a little tricky is some of the conjugation letters, i.e. this intervening vowel here, switch from short to long. And I will, when we hit the Grammatica Latina, which maybe might be next week, depending upon how far we get, I will have a nice table for you. In the meantime, you can steal the table from the Latine Disco. So vocat, oops, did I? Oh, shame on me. There, you didn't see that. Vocat, vocatur, vocant, vocantur, videt, videtur, vident, videntur, ponit, ponitur, ponunt, ponuntur, audit, auditur, audiunt, audiuntur. Generally, well, it's the first person, sorry, third person singular that usually gets the long vowel. Okay, and that's true of 1, 2, and the first, second, and fourth conjugation. The third conjugation gets left out. So now in the Pater Noster, we have that word sanctificetur. Okay, hallowed be thy name. And so you've actually been at the close of many of the classes, you've actually been reciting a passive voice verb. Any questions? Okay.
Michael?
Yep.
Just a quick question. I just want to sort of repeat what I just heard you say. So whereas in a lot of these verbs like portat or portant, they don't have a macron over them. Once you move it into the passive, then you get that macron on the vowel, the last vowel of the word.
Second to last, but.
Well, yeah, before the TUR.
Oh, okay. The root. Yeah.
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 Right. So that rule applies. Just looking at this, so it works for the singular, but not the plural.
But
Is
not
that
the
right?
plural. Yeah.
Okay, and is that sort of uniform? Well,
Yeah.
actually, well, like you've got ponitur and ponuntur. Okay, so I see the untur is where you separate that from. Okay.
Yeah. The third conjugation is where it ruins the perfect pattern.
The first, the second, and the fourth. I mean, yeah, the first, second, and fourth, you do have those macrons over the last vowel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to a certain extent, I realize this may seem somewhat arbitrary, but as you become more and more familiar with Latin in the audio form, you'll find that some of these vowel changes make it a whole lot easier to pronounce. Well, a long A and a short A are hard to hear anyway. Vocat, vocatur, vocantur. Oh, actually, I take that back. The stress becomes on, it's vocantur. The stress is on the first syllable there. Because that's short, then that's short. So, but you'll see that, or maybe videtur is a lot easier to say than videtur. You know, videtur, that's kind of an awkward word, whereas videtur, it flows off the tongue. Whereas videntur is easier to say versus vidaintur is kind of awkward. So these vowel shifts may seem somewhat arbitrary, but if you actually listen to the Latin, which has a fairly lyrical, it's more lyrical than English, or maybe a better example is German. You know, in German, they're always shouting at you.
Hey, Michael?
Yeah.
Is it videntur or videntor? Where's the stress?
Videntur.
This is on the first syllable.
It's on the first syllable. See,
Okay,
short,
thank you.
short. Yeah, if this is short and that's short, then it's on the, assuming it's 3 syllables or longer. If this is short and that's short, then that is the stress.
Okay. I couldn't tell when you were saying earlier, so I just want to make sure.
There's not a strong difference.
It's not like Italian where they hammer them out. Huh?
No,
Not quite.
there's it's some of these are pretty subtle, and if you're just listening to a stream of them, it may be a little hard to stop and pick it up. But no,
It's a little
it'd
like
be videntur and videtur. So,
the one of the 3 young men in the fiery furnace in the book of Daniel is Abednego, but in English that's hard to say. So everybody says Abednego, but that's not how it's supposed to be pronounced, but it's just easier. And so most languages tend to, after a while, people use the easier pronunciation all the time because it's just so much easier to say.
Yeah.
It's like nuclear. That drives me nuts.
oh, are you a Jimmy Carter fan?
No. Well, he's not the only one. I think one of the
I know.
Bushes used to do
I
it
know
too.
it's yeah, it's a common, yeah. Anyway, one thing I was going to say before I forget is I didn't say bye. Okay, I know it because it's in the notes. The way you say bye someone is the word ah. So let me jump over to the hold on just a second. Let me jump over. Whoops, come on, come back. There we go. And I believe
I assume you don't mean purchase,
what?
buy.
Oh, BY. Amelia is called by Julia. BY. Let's see. I thought they talked about, maybe it's on the next page. Well, I'll cover it. Let's see. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, well, we'll talk about it later. It's not important now.
It
So-
isn't vocabulary
Yeah, it's in there
in the-
someplace.
in the
It's-
companion.
Yeah, I think it's off this. So anyway, Julius ap urso et davo portatur. So just like the a and the op, where we were saying from, this is used in the same sense as by. So Julius ap urso et davo portatur. So here's the portatur. The a op is by in this sense, and it has the same rule as is this a vowel or a consonant? Okay. So ap urso, and it's not wrong, by the way, to say ap davo. A urso is kind of difficult to say. So I don't think you'd see that very often. But op urso et davo or op davo, either one. But op here doesn't mean from, it means by. And this is where I warned you that prepositions get a real workout in Latin. They have meanings that don't exactly overlay English.
That's one of those context things that.
That's definitely a context thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any questions before we go on? Because now we will torture you with the rest of it. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I don't think you got to translate that sentence yet. And I apologize for the stuff that's outside. Go ahead, Laura. Feci sunt Sirius et Leo.
Okay.
You did
I
read the
think
Feci sunt
I
Sirius.
read this, but I didn't translate it.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
Sirius and Leander are tired because they are carrying two big sacks with ovaries.
Yes. Shoulder.
Oh, on their shoulders. That's right, on their shoulders.
Yeah, and again, there's that ablative of instrument or means.
Yes.
Per humeris.
Okay.
Oh, this is a third declension noun. Ooh.
Mhm.
No, it isn't. Sorry, no, it isn't.
No, no, oh, no, no, it's just plural, it's just plural.
Yeah, sorry, plural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. They're carrying two big sacks on their shoulders. Neither are the sacks empty.
Yes. Very good.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
let's continue on here.
All right, watch me pronounce this right. Sacchi, qui Asiro et Leandro portantur mani sunt, sed sacus quem Sirius portat, non tam manius est, quam sacus qui a Leandro portatur. Okay.
Very good.
The sacks that Sirius and Leandros that are carried by Sirius and Leandros are big, but the sack that Sirius carries is not as big as the sack that is carried by Leander.
Very good.
Okay. Next little bit.
Can I stop
Eta-
you for a second?
Wait, okay, sorry.
See how clever they do this? First they have quem Sirius portat, and then they switch from the active into the passive. That's their clever way of dealing with this.
Yeah, and look at that. We get to learn active and passive and see them right next to each other in the same sentence. How cool is that? Oh man. Okay. Itaque Sirius non tam festus est quam Leander. Therefore, Sirius is not as tired as Leander. Okay. Cornelius non est festus, nam is equo vetur.
There's another ablative of horse in that case.
Yeah. Cornelius is not tired because he is carried by a horse.
Right.
Julius lectica vetur. Julius is carried by a litter. Servi ambulant, the servants walk. Domini veiuntur, the masters ride or are carried. Medus ambulat, nam is servus est, neque equum habet. Okay, Medus walks because he is a servant and he doesn't have a horse.
Right. Very good. See, where do we end here?
It's at the end of the whole.
Oh, at 90, yeah, we end at 95, I think.
Oh.
Okay, just checking. We may not get through it all. That's okay. All right, I'll do the next. Let's see. I'll do the next one just because. Julius crope villam suam est. Julius is nearby his villa or close to his villa. Your choice. Medus autem. Let's see. Let me highlight the whole sentence. There we go. Medus autem, qui dominum iratum timet, crocu Avila Iuli abest. And well, he should. Medus, however, who fears an angry master, and I'm pretty sure just about anybody would be mad at somebody who stole their money and hot-footed out of town. Procul Avila Iuli abest is far from the villa of Julius, or I should say, it is far away. That's the word I want. This is the far, this is the away, far away from the villa, from Julius's villa. Dominus a servo malo timetur. The master
Is feared.
Right, by the bad servant.
That's pretty cool. Learning that in the passive.
Medus prope Romam est. Medus is near to Rome. Iam muri Romane ap eo videntur et porta capena.
This is a great sentence.
Yeah, all right. Already. Oh boy. The walls of Rome are being seen or are seen by him and the Porta Capena, the Capena gate. Does iam mean already or now? Yes. Your choice. As I said, I've said this before. Let me try, okay, let's try this dictionary. Yeah, see, at this time now, just now, at present, while, I mean, it's, and you can have iam nunc, which is just now at this very time. So there's a lot of meanings in some of these. How many folks have have Latin dictionaries at the moment?
I think I used to have one, but I don't have it anymore or something like that.
Oh, for shame, for shame. I recommend that you, when you come across some of the new words, certainly intuit what it means. But when you have a chance, look some of them up. Look some of them up in the words in there, and you'll find that some words are, some words are pretty straightforward. Canis, dog. Okay, well, a shameless, vile person. Well, that's the same in English. Okay, so you go through the list and you'll find that dog in Latin, canis, and dog in English are a pretty good match. But some of these other ones, not so much.
Michael,
So anyway, what?
the translation on that one isn't it both the walls of Rome and the gate of Capena are seen by him?
Oh, you could put a both in there.
No, I'm not saying both as translation. I'm saying now the walls of Rome and the Capena gate are seen by him.
Yes, yes. I
Okay.
did not reorder the words. Yes.
Yeah, it's just fancy word order.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to stick to the same order just to keep a good mapping between the words. But yes, if you were to smooth it out a little, you would say already both the walls, well, in English, we'd say both the walls of Rome and the Capena gate are being seen by him. Is qui via latinit venet per portum Capena Romanum intrat. He oh wow, wait. Is qui he who is coming or is coming by means of the Via Latinae
There we go. The ablative.
Enters, yeah, oh wow, this is a murderous one. Enters through, enters Rome through the Porta Capena. Let's see if I can untangle this a little
Great
bit,
sentence.
better English.
So they're making a general statement here.
Yes. Oh, yes, you're right. He who travels along the Via Latina enters Rome through the gate of Capena, or the Capena gate.
Right.
So yes, it is a general state. They're really not tying the east back here to Medus. It would be, since it's parenthetical. If it weren't parenthetical, then there'd be no reason to, put the parentheses there. But since it is parenthetical, a better way, it might be using the word one. Okay, one who comes with along the Via Latina enters Rome through the Porta Capena.
Michael, the interesting thing here is that you have the accusative for Rome and the accusative for Campana, and because they're juxtaposed, you almost are tempted to say they're the accusative of the same verb, but it's
No.
Rome
Yeah.
is the accusative because of introt, and Capenum is the accusative because of per portam.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, because this is the ablative of separation, or really the accusative of arriving. Might be a better term.
In the previous sentence, do you mean seen or do you mean watched? Like,
No, Vintentur is they are being seen.
oh, okay.
Medus is near Rome. Already, the Roman walls and the gate are being seen by him.
Okay, okay.
He sees
I
them.
understand.
Yeah, he
Yep.
sees them.
And
We
so
probably wouldn't normally put a passive voice verb in there, but for the purposes of pedagogy or
Yeah,
pedagogy, that's what they did. And as Alex mentioned a couple of times, they kind of they're contrasting here active and passive, and the various grammatical constructs that you've been learning in this chapter.
So, Michael, it looks like what they're doing is they're trying to tell you what the significance is of the previous sentence through the parenthetical.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. In line 75, yeah, they're just saying that one normally enters the Porta Capena when you're entering Rome, if you're on the Via Latina.
The significance of him seeing the walls of Rome and the Port of Capena,
Yeah.
is explained in the next sentence in the
Yep.
parenthetical.
Yep. Yeah, and I think we even let's see if can the map, forget it. I guess the map really, well, anyway, okay. The Via Latina here, Tusculum was on the Via Latina. Hopefully you can see that where I'm driving. So if you're going to go from Tusculum to Rome, then really the best way to get there is along the Via Latina. And so that's all they're really, pointing out here. Okay. Cur Romam it Medus. Oh, we're coming up on our time. Why does Medus go to Rome? Romam it quia Lydia Rome habitat. There you go. He is going to Rome because Lydia lives in Rome. There's the locative again. Nam Lydia amica est. For Lydia, or because Lydia is his friend. Now, they're using the word amica here. And so we might better translate that as girlfriend. And if we read farther on, That is indeed the, well, okay, the next line. Medus Lydiam amat. There we go. Et op ea amatur. Medus, loves Lydia and is loved by her.
That's a great sentence.
That's a nice sentence. Yes, I like that. Medus Romam vocatur op amica sua, quae femina est pulchra et proba. Medus is called to Rome by his girlfriend because she is a woman that is upright and beautiful.
Is it because or is it who?
Oh, I'm sorry, Quay. Sorry.
Who?
Who, yeah, is called by his girlfriend, who is a beautiful and upright woman. Sorry,
Right.
I got tangled up. Yeah, I read Quia instead of Quay. Sorry. Itaqua. Thanks for the correction. Itaqua is fesus non est et letus cantat. And so he is not tired, but is joyful,
Joyful he sings.
well, that's not an adverb.
He sings happy. Well, I would really sing.
No,
He's singing with joy.
Yeah,
He is
no,
tired
that's a nominative form, and there's no way to.
he's tired and joyful.
Yeah, he is not tired. He is
Not
not
tired.
tired. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. He is not tired. He is joyful, and he sings.
Now that you're translating, you have to sing, Michael.
I have to sing. That won't end well.
Yeah.
You know, I should have saved this for Laura. You could have sung this.
Well, Laura, it's your turn.
I forgot how it goes. I'm sorry.
I don't recall it having any in the recording having any musical what's the word I want?
Accompaniment.
Gifts.
Well, it was not.
Gifts.
Let's put it this way: it's never going to be a hit tune, no matter what language it was in. Anyway, non via longa est Romam ubi amica habitat mea pulchra. The way is not long, or the road is, it's not a long road to Rome where my beautiful girlfriend lives. Okay. Sed id quod medos cantat a Lydia non auditur. Thank goodness, because if you listen to the recording, I could probably do a better job. But let's see. But it is because, oh
Well, I
boy.
thought it was that which Medus sings is not
Yeah,
heard.
but that
Yeah.
which Vedas sings, is a better way.
But Lydia can't hear him.
Cannot be heard by Lydia. There we go. I had to untangle that for a minute. Yeah, okay. So anybody want to finish up? I think that's we got a little bit more. Well, wait a minute. We got 9:01. All right, we'll leave it at that for the moment.
It's getting
so we'll do-
interesting.
Pardon?
It's getting interesting.
Oh, all right. Who wants to stay another 5-10 minutes?
I can do that.
Well, let me put it this way. Who needs to drop out?
Probably should have dropped out after the first class, but
No, look, hey, Michael, you're doing better than than before the first class. You didn't even know Britain was was an island, right?
I thought it was in Spain. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
see?
Give me a break.
All right, you didn't know Britain was an insula. Let's put it that way. Okay,
Yeah.
you thought it was an island.
Magna Insula.
Anyway, where was I? Okay, I'll finish up. Jam Julius in villa est et apamelia liberisque letus saltutatur. Sorry, saltutatur. Now Julius is in the villa and is greeted, saltutatur, by Amelia and his happy children. Liberisque and children, latus, happy. Cornelius Tusculi est, Cornelius is in Tusculum. Medus autem Rome est ante ostium Lydiae. Medus, however, is in Rome before Lydia's front door, basically. She's at Lydia's house in the front door. Medus,
Knock, knock, knock.
ostium pulsat, right. Medius knocks at the door, or really bangs on the door. Lydia imperat, intra. Lydia orders, come in. Medus per ostium intrat et amicum suum salutat. Medus enters through the door and greets his girlfriend. Salve mea Lydia. Greetings, my Lydia. Ecce amicus tuus, qui solus Romam ad te venit. Behold your boyfriend who came to you alone from Rome. Or sorry, came to you in Rome. Oh boy, let's see, hold on. Let's see if I can do this better. Behold your friend who alone came
To Rome.
to you in Rome. There we go. I think that untangles it a little better. I don't mentally often don't bother untangling it, which unfortunately then when I speak English, I sound somewhat disorganized. Lydia, verbus medii dilectatur eumque salutat. Lydia, pleased or delighted by the words of Medus, and salutes him. Amice salve, ubi est dominus tuus. Greetings, friend, boyfriend. Where is your master? Medus, Julius in villa est apud servos suos, neque is iam meus dominus est. Them's fighting words. Medus, Julius is in his villa with his servants, and I am no longer his, or rather, and he is no longer my master. So Medus is basically saying that he's no longer a slave and that, you know, he is free.
He's emancipated himself.
Yeah, he's emancipated himself. Verba meda a Lydia leta adiontur. Now, I don't, you know, you don't know if Lydia knows that he ran away. Certainly, if she thought highly of Medus, she would think that he bought his freedom. I mean, slaves could buy their freedom in ancient Rome. There are a lot of ways they could become free. Say more so, was much more common in Rome than it would have been the antebellum South. Slavery was very different between the two. But anyway, I mean, they had a lot of common things, don't get me wrong. But anyway, so the Medus words are heard with joy, means by Lydia. So I don't know when Julius is going to catch up with Medus, but it's not going to be good.
I think Lydia must not know.
I don't think she knows. If she had any sense at all, an escaped slave the master has the option of putting the slave to death.
When does Lydia ask Marius where he got all that money?
That's the other thing. Yeah, there's I don't remember seeing it in chapter 7. I thought I read through most of chapter 7. Chapter 7 has some interesting vocabulary.
His nickname isn't Pseudolus, is it?
It may be. He may be a close relative. Although Pseudolus never hot-footed. Yeah. The problem is if you're an escaped slave, I mean, your name is mud. I mean, the
Now, how
master,
could they,
the
were
master
slaves
may-
like branded or marked or anything?
well,
How-
no, typically not. There were ways of telling, but anyway, what I want to emphasize though is if you are an escaped slave, then your name is mud. So you know, it's something that I assume Lydia is a free woman, because the implication is the door to Lydia's house. Now, we don't know that for a fact. She could actually be a slave. We don't know that yet. But in any case, Lydia would be very well aware of what the penalty in ancient Rome was for escaped slaves. So and the master has the option, by the way, of putting the slave to death or taking the slave back. If you remember, St. Paul and what was the name of this? Onesimus, was that the name of the slave that St.
Yes,
Paul was
yes,
writing the
yes.
letter about? Yeah, I mean, that's why, he basically, Paul said, yes, you should go back to your master, because that is the thing to do from a legal standpoint. But the master should accept him back in without repercussions, and that's by virtue of the fact that they were both Christians. But normally, he would have the right to execute the slave, torture the slave, or send the slave to the salt mines. So this is
Well, since Julius seems to have a temper, be interesting to see how this all works
we'll
out.
see how this all comes about. But you had a lot of nice new grammar here. So anyway,
She must not know, because why would she ask about his master if she knew that he was in trouble with his master?
well, she just saw him here without his master initially, and that would be surprising. Okay,
Also, how does he have a girlfriend that lives in Rome? Like, how did they meet?
we have no idea. I haven't read that far. I need to read like 5, 6 chapters. I usually read a chapter or two ahead, I'm only about 1 chapter ahead right now, so I need to read more.
If it never explains it, somebody should, write a backstory.
Could be, yeah. No, that's a thought. Well, and part of this, of course, is the story is supposed to engage you and lead you on a little bit, like. But certain now. Oh, one reason. Okay, I suspect I know the answer. Let me pop back here to Tusculum is not that far from Rome. That's about, if I remember correctly, about 4 miles or so. Do I have? I don't think I have. No, I don't think so. I didn't make any notes. It's not that far. It's a handful of miles. Okay, and in fact,
It doesn't exist nowadays.
yeah, it doesn't exist. Yeah, it's a ruins. There was some earthquakes in around 1000 AD. That there are a couple things that happened. Usual burning and sacking and an earthquake and rebuilding and another earthquake, and then it was finally destroyed by the military. But at the time of this was a very popular place to have a very nice villa. I wouldn't say exactly in the suburbs, but the Houston equivalent would be maybe
Pearland.
or Lake Conroe. House on the lake, maybe?
Okay,
Lake Conroe is good, 50 miles north, but yeah.
So, well, yeah, well, we get to drive. They had to walk, so they tended to be a little closer to home.
True.
So anyway, very likely, if Julius being the sort of well-moneyed person that he is, he probably has business in Rome. He may even be a senator. We'll find out later on. But certainly being this close to Rome, Julius would have made trips to Rome more than once. So there's no question about that. So it would be very unusual for him to remain. In fact, Cicero, by the way, had a villa in Tusculum. And we know how much, he got around Rome. So that's probably what happened.
Cicero owned something like 40 villas. And
Yes.
when he went to complain to his wife that he didn't have any money, she'd say, "Oh, go sell one of those villas that you don't go and visit." And of course, he didn't want to. He liked to be able to, live the high life.
Well, he liked to travel all the way down to Puteoli, and he'd just stop at each of his villas on the way down. So, and probably, let's see, this is probably Naples in here, I think. Bay of Naples, maybe. Or is that Naples? I'd have to get a map. But Naples, was also a very popular place. Not Naples itself, but the area around Naples was very popular for people to go down there in the summer to get away from. See, Rome is inland, and the heat in August was rather stifling, so they would go down to the seashore.
Yeah, and it wasn't only the heat; it was the disease because
mosquitoes.
the water would get stagnant.
Yeah, that too. And how many of you heard of the island of Capri?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that was a very popular, that area around Sorrento, etc., was really popular with the Roman upper classes to hot-foot it down there for the hot part of the summer. Okay, anyway, let's get back to, okay, so.
Isn't that the place you said that they built on both sides of every acre?
Yes, on Capri, that's true. Yeah, Capri is, I think, I guess it's a former volcanic mountain or something. But anyway, it's a big mountain island. And I swear every square inch had a very nice house on it. Anyway, again, finish chapter 1 through 5. This is from last time, part 2. Do get through part 2. Get through the part 1 and 2 exercises. We can start the Grammatica Latina next time. In fact, yeah, I'll do that. We'll start the Grammatica Latina next time. And that will give you a chance to, I think, catch up on the homework some. Quite a few of you are a bit behind, some more than others. It's important to do those exercises. Even if you can read pretty well, it helps to actually do the endings and all of that other stuff, because it fixes you in the mind that much better. I know what I was going to say. Okay, back here. Whoops, back here, just to let you know what we're looking for. Oops. Okay, don't look at my login. It's ... So, all right. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Pensum A is fill in the blank. So Julius ap opi do, Tusculo, etc. So these are all fill in the endings, self-graded. And then the next one. Ostia non. What do we want
It's-
here? We want
It's
prope,
procul,
uh,
or maybe
Okay.
propane.
procul. Yeah, sorry. Ostia non procula Roma sed prope Romam est. Yeah, there we go. Do we need to do these this week? Well, you mean like for next week? I'm not
For the
sure.
homework, I was just confused because on the slide you said do the part 1 and part 2 exercise.
Yeah.
These,
That actually should have been done by now.
okay, that's
Keep
what I
in
thought.
mind these slides came from last time, so
Oh, gotcha. So you just didn't update it
I
then.
didn't.
Okay, got it, got it. Okay, so do the Grammatica stuff this week
yes,
then.
try and get through through the entire chapter.
Okay,
Next time, what I'll do is the Grammatica Latina. Whoops. And what I will do, as I promised last time, is, oh, these are all right. Hold on now. Now I got to go to the actual Grammatica Latina. Yoo-hoo, there it is. Oh, nope, that's not the one I want. I want the Grammatica Latina section. There we go. Lexio Grammatica. There we go. And this I will take and hopefully put into a nice series of charts like I did for the 5th chapter, which basically outlines the grammar and the rules. And so I will be adding to them. If you remember last time, let's see here, it would have been this one. Let's see if it's this one. Yeah. Let's figures. Yeah, okay. So, oops. Hold on. I have to switch. There we go. Yeah, if you remember this one where I put the actual endings, declensions, etc., I will add to that the new grammar that we learned. So for example, let's see, where were the verbs? No, yoo-hoo, Mr. Verbs. I know, oh, here we go. They're the verbs. So we'll add, you've had the present indicative, the imperative, and now we're going to add the present or indicative passive. This is the active. So hopefully that will help everybody as a reference. But in the meantime, yeah, try and get caught up as best you can. Any questions there? Okay, with that, we will do our oratio finalis. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris. Et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Amen. And with that, the class is